I'll tell you what autism is in 99% of the cases. It's a brat who hasn't been told to cut the act out.
Under fire, talk radio host Michael Savage makes some outrageous statements about autism. So, should he be fired? Welcome back to Showbiz Tonight. I'm Brooke Anderson in Hollywood. Tonight, outrage from coast to coast over what one of America's most popular radio talk show hosts said about kids and autism. Nationally syndicated Michael Savage went on an unbelievable rant about autism, calling it a racket and a fraud. We learned today that one major sponsor, Aflac, has pulled its sponsorship of his show, and a small radio network has dropped it, while protesters lined up outside his New York studio demanding he be fired. Savage came to CNN to defend his remarks, saying that he was taken completely out of context. But should his mic be silenced for good? With me tonight in Hollywood, Jane Velez Mitchell, investigative journalist and author of this book, Secrets Can Be Murder. And in Pittsburgh, Kevin Miller. Kevin is host of The Kevin Miller Show on KDKA Radio in Pittsburgh. Kevin, Jane, welcome to you both. And like so many others, I could not believe what Michael Savage said on his radio show, The Savage Nation, about autism. Listen to this.
Now you want me to tell you my opinion on autism, since I'm not talking about autism? A fraud, a racket. For a long while, we were hearing that every minority child had asthma. Why was there an asthma epidemic amongst minority children? Because I'll tell you why. The children got extra welfare if they were disabled, and they got extra help in school. It was a money racket. Everyone went in and was told, when the nurse looks at you, you go, I don't know, the dust got me. So everyone had asthma from the minority community. That was number one. Now the illness du jour is autism. You know what autism is? I'll tell you what autism is in 99% of the cases. It's a brat who hasn't been told to cut the act out. That's what autism is. What do you mean they scream and they're silent? They don't have a father around to tell them, don't act like a moron. You'll get nowhere in life. Stop acting like a putz. Straighten up. Act like a man. Don't sit there crying and screaming, idiot.
Jane, I'll begin with you. Is there any excuse for what Michael Savage said?
Brooke, in a word, no. There is absolutely no excuse. It is hateful, it is vicious, it is vile, and most important, it is inaccurate. It's just plain wrong. Now, I'm not going to add to the hate. I really believe Michael Savage is a very sick man who needs to get psychiatric help. He needs to step down from his show, and he needs to find out why he has to be so hateful to autistic children and to women he considers feminists and to gays and to immigrants and anybody who's downtrodden he loves to kick. This man is sick. The people I blame are the media executives who hire these hate mongers for ratings and turn them into millionaires. There are a lot of Michael Savages out there, and those bosses need to be fired, and all of us Americans need to say, who are the advertisers? We're not going to buy those products. Get that show off the air.
Kevin, do you agree with Jane that Michael Savage is a sick man and actually needs treatment? Do you agree with her on that and that he crossed the line?
Well, Brooke, I will say this, that Michael Savage is a brilliant talk show host, and whether we like what he says or not, this is America. He's the third most popular talk show host in America. He did cross a line, but he does what talk show hosts have done each and every day of the post-Imus age. They push the envelope to get the ratings, to get the revenue
for their advertisers. But is that an excuse for what he said in this instance?
Is that an excuse? It's the fact that we live with every day. The idea that he said something. He also said, let's not have a rush to judgment. And by the way, whether we like it or not, we are talking...
Let's not have a rush to judgment because it involves him.
Wait a minute.
If it involves anybody else, Jane.
Excuse me, Jane. I didn't interrupt you. Please give me the common courtesy. You and I have been on TV before. Please give me that, extend me that courtesy. Thank you very much, ma'am. So anyway, back to the story. This is what talk show hosts deal with each and every day. And, you know, Jane can get on here and have her phony outrage and everything else, but I listen to Michael Savage.
Oh,
the bottom line here is that he's successful.
Guys, one thing I asked, do not start attacking each other. Kevin, make your point.
The point is, Michael Savage crossed a line. He's going to have to deal with it. He did his job. People are talking about autism.
Oh, please.
Well, I think... Go ahead, Jane.
You're saying people are talking about autism.
They
He
are.
is spreading misinformation about autism. Ignorant people, millions of them listening to his radio show, might hear this and then behave cruelly towards kids with autism based on this misinformation, because when they see these kids who are silent and uncommunicative and rocking back and forth, they might assume, listening to Michael Savage, that this is a brat who's making this up and then attack the child. It's irresponsible. This is a real condition.
Michael Savage did say he believes 99% of those kids are fakes and that they're just brats. So I think a lot of people were stunned, including myself, when he called autism a fraud. But
Sure.
Savage did call into Larry King Live Monday night to defend himself. Take a listen.
This was in the broader context of the over-medicalization, the over-diagnosis of disease, using our children as profit centers. I've spent all day saying what a shame it is that I, as a man who has spent his entire life defending the defenseless, mainly children, should have to defend myself from charges leveled at me by men who specialize in hating families and children.
Savage said he was taken out of context, that he was just trying to emphasize a point about the over-medication of kids. Kevin, do you buy that explanation?
I do, because I do listen to Michael Savage, and I find him brilliant. He has 2 master's degrees. He has a doctorate from the University of California at Berkeley. He's doing a job that, Brooke, that every talk show host does. Whether we agree with him, whether we like him or not, he succeeds in the marketplace. He's getting us talking about something that, that most people don't. And by the way, all this attention is actually helping the folks with autism because, again, we're talking about it. He says things on his radio show, on his radio stations, that people may think about. He's destroying you know, popular myths that again, we're talking about today. So I think, Brooke, it is a win-win for everybody here.
Oh,
And I
Jane,
suppose
do you
that's
agree that
why-
it's a win-win for everybody, that it's actually helping people with autism?
No, that's why people who have children with autism are protesting outside the station saying this man should be fired. If it, in fact, were helping kids with autism, the families would be supporting this. They're the ones that are the most outraged because they deal with the frustration of raising a child with this condition and having to try to basically inform people about what the real nature of this condition is as they move through their lives. And then to have this hate monger come and spew lies, and it wasn't taken out of context. There is no context in his show. It's one giant spew where he goes from rant to rant. First, it's minority kids who have asthma trying to get welfare, and then suddenly it's kids with autism who aren't really autistic. They're just spoiled brats. There is no intellectual value to what he's saying. He is just really spewing hate to get ratings. And the sad thing is we have a lot of compassionate people who aren't on radio or television speaking in compassionate terms about these issues. We have people spreading misinformation. Again, the responsibility lies not with sick people like Michael Savage who need help, but with the media executives who make money off him, and
Jane?
they've got to be held accountable.
Jane, we could talk about this for hours, you, me, and Kevin, but I do have to end it there for now. Thank you both so much for your opinions. Jane Velez Mitchell, Kevin Miller, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.